Hello folks, this is Nico from the Embargo Man channel. Whoa, now what I'm talking about, finding love in Japan, Nobita. This is one thing I'm talking about, immigration in general, right? And I've seen the video about this, that this is one thing wise that John F. Kennedy has says. What's not what your country could do for you is what you can do for your country, right? This is wise words because, I have never been to Japan and I wanted to go there one day, but there's things like what is going on with this crazy stuff in this world. Recently, there were like a shooting in Colorado, right? In the United States, right? I'm in Colombia, but in the United States there was a shooting in Colorado. 8 were shot, one kid is dead, was a hero, whatever it is. Boom. This is craziness. This thing has been since Columbine, right? But in all of these things in general, this is where we got between good immigrants and bad immigrants. We don't need those bad immigrants, bad apples, whatever it is. This is the reason why they just come up in bad rap about the mafia, about Hollywood, how things are, right? So I might say screw Hollywood. They're the ones that are putting a bad rap on everybody. Blame Hollywood, right? So in order for that, there's so many things going on in this world. If the lack of people in Japan and when they need immigrants, whatever it is, some kind of political asylum for people of Venezuela, I don't mind that. I think it was a safer bet to, let's say, the Japanese people to learn Spanish and send people from Venezuela over there to live in Japan, as to their want to escape, like a ticket or something like that. That's what the Japanese government should do. Lack of people from Venezuela, even from people of Venezuela of Japanese descent, could go there and no need of ask. They could automatically, just like Cubans in Miami, Cubans entering Miami back then, but Venezuelans, Japanese descent, go there and they automatically enter the country with no worries, right? So, point of that. In the case of foreigners putting out Syrian refugees, then what's the catch? What is the catch of implementing their law? Even though, no mind Christians, alright? Catholic and Protestant, I don't mind. They don't freaking implement their laws. What it is people have to follow the rules and follow where they live in a foreign land, right? But one thing, you bring somebody like Robert Spencer, who is the founder of Jihad Watch, Mr. Nobita, what he might say about, there's a lack of immigrants, and what he says to implement and to share his point of view about Islam to the Japanese people. They said, you want to live safe with Muslims? Live with guns, right? That's it. Flexible gun laws, right? And things like flexible gun laws would be more like a contradiction or something like that. This is where I would say, thinking, bringing Robert Spencer to live in Japan, and then he said about being safe with Syrian refugees, and the only way to so Japan could live with Syrian refugees is to have flexible gun laws to stop Sharia. You use a gun, and And what else you could do? He'll be on the right side. He's the only foreigner going with this group, joining the people in black bands. You just have Robert Spencer as the only foreigner. Plus the other things that we could talk. There's gonna be a subject is dual citizenship. How does dual citizenship works? It works in the United States, but there's some countries that don't recognize of dual citizenship, right? So that would change too, and I think it would be awesome for that, for people to have dual citizenship. So that's what I think, Nobita. That's it. In other than that, because Spencer, Syrians living with Syrians safe in Japan, and to stop them, have flexible gun laws. Let everybody own a gun, even a handgun. That means that you want to stop Sharia law, whatever it is, use a gun or whatever it is. Or like this will be like the only foreigner, and I would think that this Robert Spencer living there would be the only foreigner that would join with the people of black vans. And then there were a bunch of people who are protesting. There are Muslims. What they gonna do with them? Use their AR-15s and shoot them all. Like just go rata, and everybody else is dead. All the protesters who protest against the laws that Robert Spencer will prove, they're all dead, and they will say that this is the reason why your country, Nobita, will be the safest on earth, because they kill a bunch of Muslim protesters against flexible gun laws, right? That's the one thing that happened. Other than that, so many things with it, or so many conflicts would be. There's not just religious conflict or something like that. There's other conflicts regarding to, I mean, the ideas of expanding or rebuilding the military, right? Trying to protect things and stuff, right? Territorial disputes, things like that of that nature. It would be so simply like some people will not even agree with this kind of nonsense, right? Then they will just choose a side, where to go, boom. Expand your military, have a base here, have a base there. What else? This is where you have the United States might just say, all right, let's leave Japan, let's help this other country settle their thing, just because of two damn island rocks, right? That's where I'm going. There are two damn island rocks, right? What's the catch? You know, this is one thing it is, but that is just the tip of the iceberg, and I hope this thing won't come, because I don't want people or some kind of immigrants to leave that country in favor of what the United States might do, alright? This is it. I think I love the USA, but there is some things that they have to like follow along and understand. You don't have to like, go mix everything, because I mean, candidates, I say I do agree with candidates, or like in the US have a president of Asian descent, but where his background would be, don't mind of that, where his background would be, that case would be more like in favoritism or something like that, favoritism or whatever it is. But most likely this thing of rivalry between two countries would even, I've seen something ridiculous about this of immigration, of all things, of people trying to change the name of the Gulf of Mexico to be called the Gulf of America. I mean, that was one silly thing. Same thing with the Sea of Japan, East Sea kind of name change, right? Now, Now that would be, hope that that won't ever comes out of the line, right? But there's one thing that I would say, that if it wasn't for, like, when I seen the video, there's like random Yoko, so damn close-minded. I remember following, or saying a bunch of stuff, but then she said something about, okay, what, some kind of Trump follower, even not living in the United States. I know what it is. Building a wall, whatever it is, going from the stars. That, I think, that is not going to be that. This is improper. This is improper that you could, have something like, okay, help their people first. I know there's things that help people first. One says to have just humanist society or whatever. I think one thing that I could agree, like, make things slow, like have livable income, and the first thing that they have to do is stop all this burnout culture, burning out work until you burn out. That is enough of that crap. Enough of that crap, let people have their breaks, still working their jobs and have breaks and whatever it is, and just take it easy, right? Take it easy, right? Like, cut off the burnout culture, and that's what your country needs, Nobita. So one thing that what this country, I mean, sorry, what your country needs, what Japan needs, is same thing that was going to happen, right? This is just what happened with Japan, is that electronic firms, firms from China and South Korea, are like surpassing Japan in some things, like TV technology, for instance, and that you have like companies like TCL and Haier and Huawei, trying to compete against in smartphones and televisions and stuff, right? But same thing, what would happen is, like, back then there was this guy in when the United States wanted to go to space, want to send a man to the moon, they need this German guy, right? He's Vander Van Braun, right? So Brown came there in NASA, and he helped out the United States sent to the moon. If it wasn't for him, then there will be no man on the moon, or some other country might send a man to the moon, probably Russia, who knows? But put it that way, is that, let me put it in the point of the line, that immigrants or something like that is like what they need in there. Or let's just put an example. Put it this way. Let's say what Robert Spencer would say. If there is, let's just put, I might put where Robert Spencer point of mind, right? Set of mind. If there's a place, if there's people speaking Arabic, what they need, a gun shop. Have flexible gun laws because of Robert Spencer's mentality of Sharia law, how to stop Sharia law, use a gun, right? Then I don't want to say that, but what we need, what your country needs, is good immigrants. Immigrants, not troublemakers or try to inflict, or like, because Robert Spencer says that Islam is a religion of tyranny, then if they want to decide to put that laws and have Robert Spencer living in Japan, hey, make it. But one more thing is competition, right? Now, companies from China and South Korea, let's say one of these days, that, let's put it out, that two of those Koreas, North and South Korea, will have their first, just like what happened in Germany, but about the Berlin Wall falling down. But if that happens in Korea, then they will decide to have a hyperloop train. It's faster than the high-speed train, right? Then the United States will say, let's ditch the high-speed train. Let's go favor hyperloop. It's faster, it's quicker, and then the rest of the world will go with hyperloop, right? That's what it is. Same thing, what it is with firms, and let's go up with Chinese and South Korean firms surpassing Japan. Like, let's say Hyundai, right? I don't drive, but I remember riding in the Hyundai Santa Fe. It rides like a Mercedes Benz, right? It's not like saying this is now this is what it is now. Like we're competing between the rivalry between Japan and South Korea. Put it this way: automobiles. So there is this guy choosing between a Mercedes Benz, a Bentley, and a Lexus, right? A Genesis, a Mercedes Benz, and a Lexus, right? So the guy writes a Genesis, right? This is made by Hyundai. It's a Korean company, and it says that like this Genesis car rides like a Bentley because if he decides to buy between a Mercedes Benz, a Lexus, and a Genesis, he decided to go to buy the Genesis automobile. And that's not just with cars, electronics too, TVs for example. Let's say the Korean rivals are surpassing Sony, right? So what do they need, right? What do your country needs? Like, I'm just talking about like the same wise words that Kennedy was saying, right? He'll say that why it's not what your country can do for you, it's what you could do for your country. So this is where it goes. Where it goes is that, immigration for any country, it works. Let's say if NASA had a German guy helping out sending a man to the moon, like I am here in Colombia, so why not they have a. But now let's talk about South American, right? People, right? There have Carlos Ghosn was one that was leading Nissan to go on the top notch. He was the CEO of Renault and Nissan, right? Like, they just gonna blame him for bribery. What this guy feels? This guy, to me, it feels like the O.J. Simpson case, right? He's leading up a company that's struggling to make a dime, and what happened? Put the company in face, and people saying, "Oh no, this guy has some bribery." Ghosn was born in Brazil, right? But then, put it that way, there's somebody like a Steve Jobs that Sony needs, right? So what it is for this company, if they have this guy who is born in this country coming to Japan, being the CEO and all the brains behind Sony and their TVs and cell phones, then the Korean rivalry would say one of the Korean rivals would stick making microwave ovens, right? But that's what I'm saying. They're making microwave ovens, and they're gonna stick making microwave ovens because I knew that Samsung made really good microwave ovens, right? So that's the point of that. This is why they need immigration in your country, Nobita. So What is it? What is it with this thing of immigrants and of people accepting immigrants in Japan? I think it's a great idea. I think it's the best idea that they could do, or what your country could do, is that if, you know, Sony have a Colombian CEO and the brains of whoever is a technician behind Sony with their phones and TVs, then, well, so then Google will have Sony to make their Pixel phones, right? So, I mean, the next generation Pixel phones. So, what would happen is that the catch of all this is that the Korean rivals would know, especially Samsung would know, okay, there's a Colombian behind Sony making, and this is the reason why Sony is surpassing the TVs, because there's a Colombian behind it, you know. And then people here would says, you know what, and they talk about Sony and their rivalry will, and they say here, no, that's one of us. That is one of us who made the TVs better. I know Japanese guy. It was one of us, right? That would make immigration for Japan better for the country to face competition, because you need foreigners behind these companies, like these prestigious companies, like specifically like Sony, have a Colombian involved in the TV and cell phone market, and like would give Samsung a run for its money, right? So this is the reason why we need, this is what reason why your country, Nobita, needs some immigrants. Because when I saw your video, there's people that could agree. Then I could agree with that. And then I could agree with some people, like the ones that are like a little bit close-minded, that they need to, you know, cut, you know, some costs and cut whatever it is, you know, to have things. And we need some people to, and you guys need some people to work, right? That what it is that you cannot rely on technology for anything, like drones and all that stuff. That happens everywhere, you know, even the United States. Because what we all need is like, who's gonna be a driverless truck driver, right? That ain't, well, it would work, but you know, okay, what you gonna do with a bus with no bus driver, right? So what your country needs, or Nobita, like every country, if they're gonna have succeeding companies dealing with immigrants, that means if NASA had a German immigrant sending a man to the moon, why not Sony in Japan have a Colombian immigrant having Samsung or run for its money, and LG, you know? I mean, like they're having like they're having, like, you know, competition. This guy like a Steve Jobs, all right, who was born in Colombia, CEO and technician of Sony, tried to improve the Xperia phones and have Xperia on the map and Sony TVs on the map, and you know, like, see, like, what's the Sony surpassing Samsung and LG? Because of that, you know, that would make the country better and improve everything. Like, you know, these prestigious companies from over there, especially like companies like Sony and Panasonic, having a foreigner, like for example, what's going to happen in there, besides Golson, who was like in this you know, haywire of like comparing it with O.J. Simpson and stuff, is that one of these days just make a video about foreigners living in Japan, about foreigners. You already did a video about Japanese people in Japan about immigrants in their country. Why not make a video, Nobita, about in your channel about foreigners, what they think about foreigners in Japan. So take care, goodbye, and have a nice week. I was waiting for your week video. Thanks for the. I was waiting for your part. This is Miguel from the Embargo Man channel. Thanks for your part. I want to hear from your part. Goodbye. Greetings from Colombia.